What he had was headaches, but he's had migraines his whole life, so what this did is this exacerbated that. But he's been kind of sequestered for a while, so pretty excited. Yahoo, I guess when you're 16, that's pretty exciting.
Where in New Mexico? Because I am a New Mexican.
Rio Rancho.
Okay, I know where, just outside Albuquerque.
I've been to many a wrestling tournament in Rio Rancho. They have a good wrestling program, just so everybody
Rio
knows.
Rancho wasn't even there when I was left there.
Rio Rancho High School. That's where Corey came from.
It's been there a long time.
6 o'clock.
My grandkids go to Sue V. Cleveland High School,
Cleveland
which
has
is
a,
the newer, one. I think.
yeah, Cleveland has a good program as well.
All right, we're good
Yes.
to go.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. I'm going to use my cute gavel that I have not used this entire year.
Oh, you just adjourned us too with the double tap.
No, I didn't. I changed my mind. Let me get my situated here.
All right.
Okay. Welcome to the East Valley Institute of Technology, Monday, January 11th, board meeting. This meeting is now called to order. It is 6:01 p.m. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm going to ask Josh, since he's standing, to lead us in that.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Missing one person.
Okay. This is one of my favorite times of the year, if not my favorite time of the year, because I get to step down from this position. And I'm just a little excited about it. So it has been a treat to be your board president. I'm glad I got the opportunity. I am a little thankful that I got to do it during COVID because it made us stretch and grow and think outside the box. And I'm really proud of the decisions EVIT has made and the services we have provided to the students during a difficult time, as well as our mitigating procedures that have kept our faculty safe. It really is remarkable, and I commend you, Dr. Wilson, for being so vigilant and helping us to make sure we could do that. So we are going to proceed to election of the governing board president and clerk for the 2021 calendar year. And I just asked for thoughts, right? So,
Well, Madam President,
yes.
I would like to nominate for the upcoming year president, or this year's president, Mr. Lamar Watkins. And I think maybe we want to separate the clerk and the president part of that so it doesn't get too complicated.
Okay, I have a nomination for Lamar, and I will absolutely second that nomination. Would love to see Lamar lead us, and am truly thankful for all of the time Lamar and his wife, the Watkins, have given to EVIT. They really have sacrificed years of service, and I would love to see you lead us into 2021 in a great year. Any other nominations? Do you accept the nomination? We should ask that first.
Absolutely.
Okay, is there any other nominations?
I move that we close nominations and second the first one.
I already seconded it, but okay.
I didn't know if you did. I
That'll
said
be
you
a third.
accepted it.
That's a third. Okay, so we will go ahead and close nominations, and we will ask Ms. Boggs to call for the vote. Okay, so first we'll vote. I will second his motion to close the nominations. So we're going to vote on closing the nominations, Ms. Boggs. Thank you, legal counsel.
And parliamentarian.
Hart? And Hobson is not here, correct? Okay. Lane?
Aye.
Covington?
Aye.
Doolin?
Aye.
Johnson?
Aye.
Boggs is an aye. Watkins?
Do I get to vote?
You do.
of course. If you don't vote for yourself, we're in trouble.
Well, that would have him.
And Fleetum?
Aye.
Okay, now we will vote to appoint Watkins as president for the 2021 calendar year. Ms. Boggs, will you call for that vote?
I will. Hart. Lane.
Aye.
Covington.
Aye.
Doolin.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Boggs is an aye. Watkins.
Aye.
And Fleetum.
Aye.
It passes unanimously. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, and I will go ahead and I would like to, I'm going to try to keep things a little consistent here, just because I know Lamar will be at this. Ms. Boggs, I would like to nominate you to stay as clerk. I don't know if you accept that, but,
I'll stay if everybody's
second
good
that.
with that.
I'll second it. I'll third it.
All four of you?
okay, just so that we have, and then I want to sit where Dave is. That's my other request.
Oh, you got to ask Mr. Watkins. I close nominations. Move.
Thank you for not making a
I
motion.
don't know that we need to do that.
We don't have to
unless there's no
close. Is
further
there any
nominations.
other? Okay, let's go ahead and call for the vote. Ms. Boggs?
Hart. Lane.
Aye.
Covington.
Aye.
Doolin.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Boggs is an aye. Watkins.
Aye.
And Fleetum.
Aye.
Okay, so Lamar, technically, this gavel is yours and you are now taking over the meeting. Do you want to do that? Do you want me to finish up today's meeting?
Go ahead and finish up.
Lamar, okay, I will finish up.
That's a good action to delegate.
But then
First official action.
but then
You're president.
yeah, I really do request Dave's seat. Next time, it's the warmest seat with all the lights.
Oh, my gosh.
I've scouted it out. Okay. Okay, we're moving on to B, which is approval of the superintendent or designee to sign or negotiate the following. I will not, funding,
Madam Ex-President,
yes,
I want to combine
sure.
items B through L because they're basically what we do every year. There are a little
Yep.
bit of changes, if anybody wants to go over any of the changes, but they're basically our governing board, and I'd like to put them all in one motion. I want to get to the game.
I would like to remove one item from that, though.
Which item?
Just let me find it here. The petty cash thing.
Which number is that, please,
I'm
or
looking
letter?
for it.
L? Okay, so I have a motion for action items B through G with removal of L. Do I
B.
have, what?
K, B through K.
B through K with the removal of L.
B through K.
Just B through
sorry.
K, yeah.
Thank you. Rough day over here.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. You want to call for the vote, Ms. Boggs? Any discussion I should ask on those? Hearing none, Ms. Boggs, will you call for the vote?
Hart. Lane.
Aye.
Covington.
Aye.
Doolin.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Boggs is an aye. Watkins.
Aye.
And Fleetum.
Aye.
Oh, Hobson's here.
Hi, Hobson.
Hi. I apologize for retarding folks.
Welcome.
My daughter's at the hospital having the baby right now, so we're very excited here.
Oh.
Okay, then we'll go fast.
exciting. Yes, probably.
So, Rhonda, I'll make a motion.
Motion to approve 11, L.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, you made the
you
motion?
made the motion. I'll second.
Now discussion.
Discussion.
I move that we amend
But we
L.
didn't do K. We didn't vote on K. Yeah, we did?
Yeah, we
Okay.
did.
We did.
Thank you. Go ahead. Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion
Yeah.
to amend L,
We have a redo.
To what?
To reflect.
to amend L. I think $100 might not be enough to be, I think that number should probably be increased to $300 or maybe $500, just so we don't get tied up in little dollars and cents.
Madam Acting Chair, Jeff Fleetum here. That makes sense to me.
As does me.
$100 is,
It just doesn't get you very far anymore.
Mr. Wilson, Dr. Wilson, do you have something?
Madam Ex-President, members of the governing board, I think, Mr. Lane, your suggestion, I think it makes total sense. I think in talking to Ms. Perez, the amount is hardly ever used. Typically, we have credit cards, and other vehicles, to purchase. But that being said, to your point, there's no reason to not extend it, especially if it's rarely used, and the one time it might be needed, having an amount over 100 makes sense.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. We have discussion. Any other further discussion?
That's a motion to amend, so we have to
yeah.
vote the motion to amend. I don't know if somebody seconded the motion
Larry
to
did.
amend. You did.
Larry seconded it.
No, he made the
The
motion.
initial motion.
Okay,
Okay.
Josh seconded it.
There we go. You got all that?
So we have a motion to amend, but let's go ahead, just to be clear, do we need to vote on that one before we make a motion with the dollar amount?
We know the dollar amount would
Is
be
the
the amendment, and I would say to $500
fine.
myself.
Josh, you want to second that since you seconded it? I second that. Thank you. Okay, so we have both of those. I think we're done with discussion. Ms. Boggs, will you call for the vote?
Yes. Hart? Aye. Hobson?
That was it.
Hobson? Lane?
Aye.
Covington?
Aye.
Doolin?
Aye.
Johnson?
Aye.
Boggs is an aye. Watkins?
Aye.
And Fleetum?
Aye.
Okay,
Now we vote
On the motion.
on L.
We're voting on L, $500.
approval. Yep, approval of the cash fund for $500. Do I have a motion?
It's been moved and seconded
That's
and
been moved and
amended,
seconded.
so we
Vote on it.
just vote.
Okay, Ms. Boggs?
Yes. Hart? Aye. Hobson?
Aye. Aye.
Lane?
Aye.
Covington?
Aye?
Doolin?
Aye.
Johnson?
Aye.
Boggs is an aye. Watkins?
Aye.
And Fleetum?
Aye.
Okay, we're going to move on to our closing items, which is the calendar, and then we're going to go into adjournment. So we're going to do the calendar real quick. It looks like January 11th is the next day. Is there any,
Today.
January 25th.
Today
That's today.
January 11th.
why does it say, oh, so when do you want the next one?
It's in the,
So, Madam President, members of the governing board, the calendar that you adopted has us rotating back on the first and third Monday of the month. And so our scheduled next meeting is the 25th. The way we've arranged those meetings is to be consistent with what we started a year ago, in which the first meeting of the month is more of a business meeting, which in general should be a shorter duration meeting. The second of the month is where we have the presentation, student of the months. At that meeting, we will have a dinner prior to for anybody that's interested, meeting at 5. The dinner's gonna vary. Some weeks it's gonna be a full-on carved-out station. Other weeks it might be a little bit less, depending on where the department is at. So you'll see in your backup, the scheduled calendar that was approved, and our next meeting is on the 25th, and that is more of a presentation, discussion meeting than just the business items.
I really do like having the business meeting separate from the,
Me too.
any items people would like to be considered on an upcoming agenda calendar? Anything that hasn't been wrapped up?
Well, I don't know, maybe we need to state that it may be amended as necessary. Who knows what's going to happen anywhere. I don't think we want to get locked in. Generally, this will be the calendar except as amendments as needed throughout the year. We might need to add a meeting. We may decide not to have.
Right, but we've always done that.
Yeah, but
I don't think we need a
I
motion
don't
or
know if we
anything
need
for
to
that.
get locked in.
I don't think we need a motion because we
No.
just approved the calendar and it's on the calendar.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, but is there anything you guys want added to a future agenda for Mr. Watkins to bring back?
Well, that'll be for the next meeting.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add to the agenda something that we have never wrapped up, and we've talked about it like 5 times. So I want to see where we're at, and that's vehicle purchases and a company vehicle for our superintendent.
I thought we had that.
Nope, he's still driving his
I'm still driving my truck.
truck. I see it out in the parking lot.
We will. I know that we've looked at the fleets, and so we'll come back with you on the timeline for
Okay,
that.
excellent.
I appreciate that. The good thing is that none of us have been going very far much lately, but that's gonna change soon.
Yes,
So
it
that'll be helpful, thank you.
I think it might be to clarify to everyone, in the past, the superintendent has received a vehicle stipend every month. And we're changing that practice to just have a vehicle available for the exclusive use of the superintendent, but to the ownership and insurance and associated costs is borne by the district.
Okay, nothing else on the calendar. We will move onward
I think I've got them all.
and go to adjournment. Do I have a
I
motion?
so move.
I second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask Ms. Boggs to call for the vote.
Hart. Hobson.
Aye.
Lane.
Aye.
Covington.
Aye.
Doolin.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Boggs is an aye. Watkins.
Aye.
And Fleedham.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. That was my roughest meeting yet. I wasn't prepared to carry on the agenda. I thought I was giving it over.
Is that why you're so nervous?
Yes, I didn't do as much research as normal.
You're not being oriented at the time, so it's 1:50 minutes.
I was like, holy mackerel, I was not ready for that.
No,
I don't think we have that one here.
yeah, we're not under federal code.
Are we off camera?
We're gonna start the next.
No, we're not.
Is it time for me to open the next meeting?
Yep.
Yes, Mr.
Are
Watkins.
you good for that?
Yes.
I'm absolutely good with that. It being, what time is it? 6:16, I would like to open the regularly scheduled meeting of the East Valley Institute of Technology, District 401. Do we have to have a pledge again when we just did?
You always, I don't think there's anything wrong with
That's
ever
at your
doing.
discretion.
What the heck, I like saying it.
Yeah, good for you.
Nice.
Tammy, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
One
under
nation,
God,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and
liberty and
justice for all.
justice for all. I might be dating myself, but I still want to add, will you please remain standing for a moment of silence? We used to have to say that in the classroom. Oh, no. We don't have to do it. It was the only time my class was ever completely quiet.
Now you know how much control you have over us. We all stood up.
Yep.
We'll move on to item number 3, which is approval of the minutes, both for the, and I would like to combine A and B, the regularly scheduled meeting on December, what was that? 14th, plus a special one on December 21st. Can we combine those into one vote?
Yep. I will make the motion to combine and approve those.
I will second that.
Do we have any discussion on that? Then I'll call for the vote. Ms. Boggs?
Yes. Hart. Aye. Hobson.
Aye.
Lane.
Aye.
Covington.
Aye.
Doolin.
Aye.
Johnson.
Abstain.
Boggs is an aye. Watkins.
Aye.
And Fleedham.
Aye.
Okay.
Moving on to number 4, I don't know if there's any call to the public or not, because I'm not there.
There's not.
There is not.
You can,
We can move on to item 5, agenda item 5,
correct.
and I would like to combine, is it A through G, I think? A through G?
Yes.
Do I have a motion on that?
I will motion the approval of items A through G.
I'll second it. Covington?
Ms. Boggs would call for the vote.
Yes.
Discussion.
Oh, discussion.
Oh, discussion. Is there any discussion? Now we call for the vote, Ms. Boggs.
All right. Well, I'm going to go backwards. Fleedham.
Aye.
Watkins.
Aye.
Boggs is an aye. Johnson,
Aye.
Doolin,
Aye.
Covington,
Aye.
Lane,
Aye.
Hobson,
Aye.
and Hart. All right, motion passes.
Hart, is your microphone on? Yeah, we need it on for recording purposes.
Moving on to agenda item number 6, personnel. Is there a motion to recommend the approval of the classified and certified personnel?
I move that we approve the classified and certified personnel request as presented.
I will second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. Ms. Boggs?
Hart. Aye. Hobson,
Aye.
Lane,
Aye.
Covington,
Aye.
Doolin,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Boggs is an aye. Watkins,
Aye.
and Fleetum.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion carries.
Moving on to item number 7, information and discussion on the COVID vaccine, and I'll turn it over to Dr. Wilson.
Mr. President, members of the governing board, just wanted to give you an update. As I'm sure you're all aware, and you've been reading in the newspapers and seeing on news, that the state has moved into the vaccine phase 1B, which includes educators and educational personnel. It's an exciting time for us because I think we've all kind of been laboring to get to that point. And to Mrs. Doolin's statements earlier, I'm really proud of the work that our faculty and staff have done this past year. It hasn't been easy. And we're grateful, though, that our folks have done what needed to be done in order to give our students the opportunity to learn that they deserve. But we're optimistic and excited about the vaccination. One of the challenges with it, though, is that we know that it's going to take much longer than probably anybody would like for all of our faculty and staff to actually be vaccinated. On top of that, we have faculty and staff, and justifiably so, that are apprehensive about taking the vaccine, that aren't necessarily willing initially to take the vaccine, and some who just for their own personal religious beliefs may not want to take the vaccine. So one of the challenges we have as we moving forward is that how do we navigate all of those pieces? And one of the things that we believe is that no matter when all of our faculty and staff who are interested in the vaccine actually have the opportunity to be vaccinated, we're still going to be requiring and expecting our organization to adhere to the safety protocols that we put into place. And we're proud of those, and I think the proof is in the pudding on what we've done. And in doing that, we think that we create the opportunity, to continue to provide an assurance of safety to our students, but also to make sure that until all faculty and staff have had the opportunity to be vaccinated, and those individuals that are choosing not to, as long as we're adhering to our safety protocols, there should be confidence and safety for our students and for our staff. And so we just wanted to give you an update on where we're at, because we know that that's a lot in the news and a lot of information that's out there, and we know that our faculty and staff is working hard to get scheduled appointments. We're also working hard to be a point of distribution. But ultimately, we believe that we're going to adhere to our protocols at least until the latter part of the year. And we'll come back to you at a later date and time if that's going to change. But we just wanted to update you on that, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
I have a question. Do board members count?
Yes.
You count in more ways than you realize, Mr. Watkins. Yes, you
No,
count.
I mean for the vaccine. I couldn't get through to Maricopa County today.
So if you want, the short answer to that is yes. And if you'd like tomorrow, I can call you, or you can call me, because I had a difficult time as well. But there was a link I got that kind of got the party started. There's quite a bit of openings if you're willing to go out to the Cardinal Stadium at kind of off hours. Or if you're going to wait for a bit, then like I said, we're optimistic that we will become a point of distribution here. And if that's the case, then certainly you could come here. That's probably going to be a couple weeks down the road before the logistics of that get figured out. But the short answer is yes, board members do count. The longer answer is I can help you tomorrow, or you can hang tight. And if we become
I'll take advantage of that.
Okay, give me a call tomorrow. I'll be happy to do it.
Dr. Wilson, there may be one obstacle is they're requiring a ID that reflects
He's
that.
over 75.
Yeah.
He's over
He's in that
75,
1B
he's fine.
category.
Okay.
So am I.
How did you all know that?
Just a wild guess, Mr. Watkins.
Yeah, I am,
Just barely.
just barely.
And that's all I wanted to update the board on.
Okay, moving on to item number 8. A, COVID sick leave. That's just a discuss, no, it is a vote, isn't
It's
it?
an action.
Yeah, it's an action. Do I have a motion on that?
I will move to adopt 8A, the COVID sick leave as presented.
Do I have a second?
Leadham will second.
Call for the vote, Ms. Boggs?
Nope, discussion?
Discussion.
Oh, discussion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote.
Hart,
Boggs?
Hobson,
Aye.
Lane,
Aye.
Covington,
Aye.
Doolin,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Boggs is an aye, Watkins,
Aye.
and Fleedem.
Aye.
Motion carries. Action, action 8B, second classroom observation for continuing teachers. Do I have a motion?
I so move. Mr. Covington?
I second, Ms. Doolin.
Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I have a question. Does this include teachers in their first 3 years of teaching?
I do not believe it does. No, I think under the statute, the teachers in their first 3 years are required to have multiple evaluations. So it's only those teachers who have extended beyond that are in those the top 2 highest categories after their first evaluation that you're waiving the requirement of the second.
That's kind of how it's always been. I'm not sure if that's the case, why we need to stipulate that with more action.
You mean just as a item? in a-
That's been the practice pretty much for everyone, that the first 3 years you get 2, and then you always have the right to ask for an additional evaluation.
So it's my understanding when the statute changed that continuing teachers are required to have 2 observations unless the board waives it. And the rationale behind that was, I believe, that when it was only 1 evaluation that was required, you may have a teacher that's beyond their 3rd year that is struggling, and so the opportunity to give him or her some support and then come back in again and reevaluate didn't exist unless you put the teacher on a plan of improvement. And what that wound up becoming was a little bit more draconian than what it needed to be. And so I think the statute changed to say that first 3 years as a probationary teacher, you have the 2, continuing, you have the 2, but the governing board can waive the second of the 2 if you are an individual that rates in the top 2 of the performance categories after your first evaluation.
That's only for continuing,
Correct.
entering into their 4th year.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
I'm not sure if should that be clarified maybe in what we're acting upon?
It's there.
Yeah, it's an evaluation for a continuing teacher. So I think the reference of the continuing is indicating an individual that's beyond their probationary period.
Okay.
Is there any more discussion? I'll call for the vote. Ms. Boggs?
Hart, Hobson,
Aye.
Lane,
Aye.
Covington,
Aye.
Doolin,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Boggs is an aye, Watkins,
Aye.
and Fleedem.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Computers are killing me.
Moving on to agenda item number 9, the superintendent's report. And I'll turn it
Mr.
over-
Mr. President, members of the governing board, I just have 4 quick items that I want to make you aware of. The first item is we always look at our enrollment compared to, we always look at our enrollment the first week at the beginning of the second semester compared to the last week at the end of the first semester. And the idea behind that is to begin to get a better understanding of how well we're retaining kids from first semester to second semester, which would allow them to complete the year. We were also more so concerned about that this year because obviously with the uniqueness that we've had, there was some concern that the retention of the students into the second semester would be even more struggling than what it has been in years past. Well, so we looked at the comparison in last year, At the end of 2019 in December, compared to the first week in 2020 January, we had a 3% reduction in enrollment. So we lost 3% of our students last year from December to January for a number of different reasons. This year, at the end of December 2020, compared to the first week of January 2021, we had less than 1% that did not return. And so, to me, again, you know, I know Board Member Doolin made a comment earlier about the work that our faculty and staff have done, and I can't tell you how proud I am of them. And I think it speaks well for a lot of different reasons, but in many cases, for many of our students, their opportunity to interact with their peers, their opportunity to be on campus has solely been with us. And I think you see that also reflected in our retention from semester to semester. Also attendance, the first week of second semester at the main campus here, we're running around 86-87% daily attendance, which is relatively similar to attendance rates during normal non-COVID years. And at our Power Road campus, roughly 88-89%, which is again consistent to what we had in non-COVID years. And the reason why I bring those two pieces up to you is, again, to let you know how much I believe our students have appreciated the governing board's position of maintaining our campuses to be open, and the work that our faculty and staff have done to get us to this point. The third thing I'd like you to be aware of is a number of years ago, EVIT partnered with the town of Fountain Hills and Fountain Hills Unified School District to create a partnership that reverted the CTE course offerings to be ran by EVIT and to be facilitated by EVIT instructors. In addition to that, EVIT went into a partnership to rent one of their buildings, the old Four Peaks, and to turn that into a space to hopefully grow additional programming in that section of our CTED. And for a lot of different reasons, that has not been a productive relationship, both from our end, but also from Fountain Hills' end. I think that it's well intended, but I don't think it produced the benefit on either entity's side that all had hoped it would be. So effective January 1st, no longer is EVIT the possession of the Fountain Hills Four Peaks campus. That lease and all the leases that were there reverted back to Fountain Hills Unified School District. And in some ways it's disappointing because there was some unique possibilities that are there, but in other ways it's a blessing to both us and to Fountain Hills, to be truthful. And also when we get into next year, so 21-22 school year, Fountain Hills is going to revert back to a more traditional CTED relationship like our sending districts have, in which they're just satelliting out their classes and sending students here. And again, that was a discussion and decision that was mutually agreed upon by both parties. I think that some of the goals that Fountain Hills has are better managed by them. And some of the challenges that we would have are no longer going to need to be managed by us. I tell you that because when we look at our enrollment, part of our enrollment includes all of the branch campus students in Fountain Hills and all of the branch campus students in Apache Junction. So when we look at what enrollment is for next year, if we have 127 students up in Fountain Hills taking satellite programming that we currently are managing and running, and those programs revert to Fountain Hills Unified School District, that 127 or whatever the number is will not be on our books next year. And so I'm just giving you that kind of thinking ahead sort of discussion. So when we look at enrollment, we're gonna have to work at in a lot of different angles enrollment. But I wanted you to be aware that we know that there's going to be a lesser number, at least compared to what we have right now, without much of us doing anything, simply because of that partnership moving in a different direction between us and Fountain Hills Unified School District. So questions on either one of those?
I do. The teachers that were there, they were under our guidance and pay.
Yes, sir.
Fountain Hills has taken over for that.
So that's a really great question, Board Member Covington. So the instructional programming that is currently occurring out in Fountain Hills will continue under EVIT until the end of this school year. When July 1st rolls around, then all of that programming will go back to Fountain Hills, and it will be up to them to determine whether or not those instructors are going to stay part of that and stick with Fountain Hills, or those instructors have an opportunity to come here on one of our campuses if they would like to or choose to. So it's really going to be up to Fountain Hills in terms of whether or not they want to bring those current staff members back, and if not, then we will absorb them in our faculty.
I have a question also. We took over, we leased that facility from them. Are there significant assets there that we need to recover and bring back? Is there expense to return the building back like it was when we got it? Or is that going to be absorbed? Well, I don't know the significance of the assets, but, you know, the computers and whatever. I don't know what programs were there specifically, but.
Yeah. Mr. Lane, fair question. So as we began this discussion with Fountain Hills Unified and we realized that there was going to be a separating of the relationship, we went up before the winter break and removed all the assets that we had. Obviously, there's assets that are attached to the facility, and part of the lease and the IGA is that those assets stay. So, for example, the green room that we built there, well, that's a built-in part of that room, and so we didn't tear that down, because tearing it down we wouldn't benefit from it, but the screen that was there we did bring. All of the computers we brought, the printers we brought, the phones we brought, the desks we brought, the chairs we brought, and repurposed them within the organization. The work that needed to be done to return Fountain Hills was minor in nature. So, for example, we took our lettering off the campus and put their lettering back on and painted their lettering. So it was simple things like that Mark Howard and his crew took care of, and it was taken care of before we went on winter break.
All right, so is that going to affect the continuity of the courses that are underway?
No, because what we did this year, and that's a good question, what we did this year was, because of the unique nature of Fountain Hills Unified School District master schedule, they weren't able to transport students to that facility. And so all of our student programming was happening on the Fountain Hills High School, even the double block classes. And so the only individuals that were in that facility were the attendants that were there in order to try to grow some of the business. And so part of what generated the discussion is if we're not able to get students onto that campus, then that's not our wheelhouse space. And so that's what actually generated the beginning of this discussion. This started back in August. And Fountain Hills, to their credit, understood that, and they have plans for that space that I think probably is going to be advantageous to them. And I think they will make a go of it. And so no, it will not interrupt the continuity of the classes, because there weren't students on that campus at this semester.
All right, well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
To clarify, from my understanding or viewing, going out there to the facility a couple times, I think they're kind of coming out ahead on the improvements that we did on that building, that are fixed there, and they should be happy with that, and probably lost on us, but it's good for the students.
You said it very well, Mr. Covington. I think it is a loss for us, but I think it's good for students. I think it was a partnership that was well intended, but for a number of different reasons, it didn't work. And when we got to the point where it became clear that students being there that was going to be a challenge, then that wasn't a space that is in our area to be in then if we couldn't have students on the campus.
Thank you.
And last but most certain, unless there's a question for me, I'm sorry. One last thing, last but most certainly not least, all of you that are in here are servants to the community, and you give of your time to make decisions that some years may not seem hugely significant, but some years are incredibly significant. And we've seen some of those difficult decisions and time-consuming issues that you all have had to navigate. And in your group, there's always an individual each year that becomes the spokesperson and the president. And tonight we'd like to recognize Mrs. Doolin for her leadership the past year and present her with a wonderful plaque for Miss Doolin. There
Even
it
with
is.
the horrible job I did tonight, because I was not prepared to keep
Honestly, I
going.
almost didn't give it to you after tonight, but I
I'm
said,
serious. I was like, wait, Lamar's not taking it. I'm not ready.
So if everybody could please join me in congratulating Miss Doolin for a job well done this year.
I will say I'm happy to turn over the COVID reins to someone else because that has not been my favorite thing to navigate. Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item number 10, closing items. A, calendar. Dr. Wilson.
There are a couple of calendar items that we already have slotted. I know in March, we're expecting to go out to the Power Road campus and conduct our meeting there, so you all can have a tour, not only of the space that it currently exists, but also the work that is being done. I'm working to have our lobbyist come either in person or via Zoom at the 25th to kind of give you an idea of what the legislative session is going to look like. This year, obviously, the State of the State address was today, and I sent you all some information from the lobbyist about that today. But for you to have a sense of where she sees some of the items going through the legislative session. Are there any other items that you all would like us to schedule on the calendar?
Which meeting are you planning on moving in March to, does that be the 15th or the 29th?
It's a really good question. I hadn't thought that far. You know, one of the things is that we might want to,
Probably the 15th, because they're serving food on the 29th. I don't want to miss
oh
food.
yeah, so the 15th. Fair enough. Good for you, Mr. Covington.
Way to go, Mr. Covington.
Always looking out for our best interests.
Darn right, my waist loves it.
That is strategic thinking, sir.
So just a question, when the lobbyist is here, is there going to be an opportunity for us to ask questions,
Absolutely. It's going to be a discussion.
a discussion? And
Yeah, and she may have some presentation. I don't know. I mean, I can work with her on that, but absolutely.
Does she have a list of any of the current bills, education bills that are going to be dropped? Because I know there's a couple I've been reading about that I do
Yes.
have concerns about.
Same.
What is her name and the firm?
It's P3, and it's Megan is her name. And she can, yes, I can get, I could probably send that before then, but
Okay.
you can ask questions too,
All right.
absolutely.
Moving on to 10B.
I so move.
Do I have a motion for adjournment?
You have it.
I'll second it. Mr. Covington
Call for
moved
the-
it.
It's the only
Call for
motion
the
I like.
vote, Ms. Boggs.
Hart. Hobson.
Aye.
Lane.
All right,
Covington.
Aye.
Doolin.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Boggs is an aye. Watkins.
Aye.
And Fleetum.
Aye.
Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Thanks for the
Bye.
snack food and water.